Hey, 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 hello out there, everybody. This is your girl, LadyRachael of Singleswithaestimony, and we are back as always, keeping the topics hot, meeting us here at the BPG Tea House, the holiest tea house in Houston, Texas, where the tea is always hot, but it is always oh so good for the soul. And so on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, I have the pleasure of sitting with this awesomely amazing sister queen who is really like family, y'all. But anyway, she is going to talk about a sensitive topic, whether you're married or unmarried, but really for those who may have found themselves again being unmarried, and it is season of solitude. And so how many know that if your mind isn't right and if you're not stable, sometimes you will look at a season of solitude as something negative when we all know that everything happens for a reason. And just because you appear to be in solitude or isolated, there are still many opportunities that can come from out of that. You can learn something new about yourself, or either kind of just get reacquainted with what you like and what you don't like, and things of that nature. So I'm not going to take up the time because I want to hear what this queen has to say. And so I am going to bring on this awesome sister queen, Miss Krystal Brown. So let me go ahead and bring so you can see this beautiful face. All righty. And so we have Miss Krystal Brown. Go ahead, girlfriend, introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about you, who you are. And then we're going to dive right into it.
Hey, Miss Lady Rachel. First of all, I just want to thank you for bringing me in today and talking about a topic that is really sensitive to me. So I like to connect with people and become a little bit vulnerable. So because you just never know, you might be able to help someone.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Also, my name is Krystal Brown. Like she said, I am a mother and a designer here in Texas. I also have a small business that I'm working on as well. So stay on the lookout for that. And my
okay.
Yes, ma'am. All accounts are Krystal Brown Official. So if you want to see more about me, just check me out.
Okay. All righty. So again, we are talking about season of solitude. So you guys, I happen to be scrolling and I'm always looking for new hot topics and new people to share their testimonies or just share some things about themselves. As she said, she likes to connect with people. And I think that's awesome because so many people get to a certain place in their life and they feel that they have arrived, and so they kind of forget that everybody is going through something, and if they can see themselves in you, that gives them hope and encourages them that where they are, that doesn't have to be their stopping point. Their flaws and scars and things of that nature don't necessarily define their destiny. And so Miss Krystal Brown,
Okay.
talk to us about this first question. What were some of the challenges you faced in your season of solitude? And what made you even come up with that topic, season of solitude? Where did that come from?
It just came from like experience. I wanted to talk more about like what I was going through at the time, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one. And I found it was a place of like where I felt the most uncomfortable. So, and I just felt like people need to hear about this because there is a tomorrow after, you go through the struggle, through the pain.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to talk about it to keep people to keep going. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So some of the things I jotted down that I wanted to mention in your video was that the challenges I faced the most, I wanted to focus on those points, and that was patience.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of my biggest ones.
Indeed.
You have to have patience with God, with yourself, with people. I didn't realize how impatient I was until I was forced to be in solitude. So another thing I wrote down was being okay with stillness. I remember being in my bedroom and nothing was happening. Like I wasn't working at the time. I wasn't connecting with my friends, family. I was just stuck in a space where I had no choice but to be still. And so it became like very like a depressing moment for me. But I just kept focusing on, okay, there's a reason for this.
Yeah.
There's why I'm going through this. Maybe I need to reevaluate some things. So I just took that time to like start looking back on memories, my past life experiences, stuff like that. Which brings me to being misunderstood.
Good one. Good one.
I found that I was being misunderstood by friends because sometimes, at that moment, in those moments, that season, I couldn't talk to anyone. I couldn't connect with anyone. I had to really focus on what God had destined for me to focus on. And at that time, it was like, get away from everybody, everything. I need you to be right here.
Absolutely.
So some people didn't understand that yes, ma'am. Some people didn't understand that I was friends, and it just is what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing was loneliness. Loneliness, being isolated, was very heavy on me, and it made me focus on my thoughts, like the thoughts that were within myself, the negative and the positivity. So that right there, I was like, I need someone to be around me. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Sit back down right here, like I told you. I'm like, oh, Lord, help me, please.
Indeed. Yes, ma'am. That's a booger. If I may just kind of talk about that, you guys. She said, and I heard where she said that it caused her to look inside of herself. See, sometimes when we're so caught up in the rigmarole, going and moving and shaking, we can't hear God. We can't hear when he's talking to us, trying to get our attention, because we have all of these distractions. Now, while some of these distractions may be good, you have a husband, you have a wife, you have kids, you have a job, but God always wants to be God in your life. And he's always going to say, I'm first before anything else. And if that means separating you from even those that you love, you heard her say she wasn't even talking to family or anything like that. She was off to herself, and she began to be able to focus because there were no distractions. There were no other voices other than the one that mattered at that moment. And that was God bringing her back from that, showing her, like she said, she didn't even know she had an issue with patience. But sometimes when God pulls you out of stuff and allow you to get by yourself, you can say, oh, I really am a hot mess. I mean, I thought I was all right, but girl, you a trip. And no, baby, you are a trip. And it's okay, because then you can fix that. You can see that, and then it helps you to grow from that and go forward. So yeah, that's good. And that loneliness, oh yeah, the enemy will definitely tell you, you by yourself, look at you, this and that, I mean, trust me, I went through that in a period. And especially, I'll say this, being an unmarried woman, and I'm just gonna say, I'm in my age and looking at everybody, they got somebody and they got a this and that, and and I'm like, baby, you're not getting no younger, so what's going on? And so you sitting, and so the loneliness can set in, then the depression can set in, and you just stop even trying to live, and that's what the enemy wants, to stop you from living and stop you from growing. So go ahead, Miss Krystal, and continue.
Oh, that was pretty much it. You brought distractions. I wrote down letting all of distractions go, putting that phone away, because how some of us can be on those phones. When we just need to shut it off.
Yeah.
And I like what you mentioned about like people like having kids and stuff. I do have a child myself, and there was moments where there was days where he had to, I had to pay him attention. But with school and daycare and stuff like that, it was like, okay, now I'm back in this mode again, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, that answers your first question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So now we're going to go into what opportunities did you gain in this season? Now, who would think, Lord, I'm in the season of solitude. It's just me and nobody. What opportunities can I actually gain in this season? So kind of talk to us about that.
Okay. So opportunities. Yes, you can gain opportunities during solitude, even though it may sound like it's a hot mess season, but it's really not. It's really like to get down to the nitty-gritty things that you need to like focus on so that you can create better space to allow better opportunities to come in. So I during this period I had self-discovery. Was an opportunity for me, discovering like what were my weaknesses, what were my strengths, what are things I wanted to get rid of to transform into this woman I
Yay.
And my strengths, I was like, okay, I'm good at this. I also transition in jobs as well because I really my strength. So I found my career path in this moment. Also gave me the opportunity to seek wisdom. I always wanted to read the Bible, and I would get in there and I would read it, and I would get out again for months.
You're not by yourself.
And I'm not super consistent as I want to be, but I'm a lot further than I was before. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah. So seeking wisdom was an opportunity for me. Learning more about what discernment is, becoming more discerned about like decision making, what's good and what's bad, think godly, what would he say? Because sometimes we look for the answer elsewhere, but sometimes it's in us if we just sit down. Also, I found out what strengthens your intuition. I got to spend more time with myself, spend a lot of self-love, got to find new hobbies and just things that I always wanted to do that I had forgot about because there was so much noise going on.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, and then I got to also reflect on, like I said, things that happened so that I can make clear decisions when those opportunities came in. Meaning like new job, that I wanted to meditate on and manifest into my life. And I couldn't do that, like I said, until you go through this season. So, and lastly, I wanted to bring up was plan out my goals. That was a big opportunity for me. Like, sit down and actually plan out my next chapter. Yes. So that was
and all of those are like, you guys, those are really valid points, because sometimes, again, it takes us to have to sit down and be still to find out what is the next chapter. And then I would definitely say this, especially for those who have found themselves unmarried again. Meaning, if you've been married before, or even if you've been in a relationship, okay, now you found yourself, as they say, by yourself again. So you're learning yourself all over again, because for that length of time, you moved and grooved kind of with this other person, and you had to make your likes and their likes mesh. And so now kind of about you, and you kind of get to know, well, I really only did that because he liked that or she liked that. I mean, I did, but really that was their thing. So I just did it because of what they wanted to. And then we try to help people be what we think they should be. But sometimes we can only encourage people. They have to want it for themselves. And so there again, when that parts, then now you say, okay, who is Krystal without this other person? Who is Rachel without this person? And you begin to get to know you all over again. That while it's good and it's nice to have that person, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing with it being just you. You can go out to dinner by yourself. You can go to a movie by yourself, all of these things, but we won't get to know that. And then she said she found out, hey, I am good at this. I'm creative. Maybe sometimes we don't find those things out because we're so busy. Again, we're connected to this other person. So we are focusing on the we, which we should, and not so much as at times the me, to know what do I bring to the table? What are some strong or some good attributes about myself? Because sometimes women, I'll tell you this, especially women, not so much men, but women, we can get lost inside of that man. Not to say nothing's wrong with being connected to him, but sometimes we can get lost inside the man, inside the children. And Krystal is back over here, like she said, all this was over here saying, hey, hey, I forgot I was good at that, because I'm in there. But so the opportunities that she gained was herself. And her, knowing who she really was. And so as she mentioned, I heard you say decision making. So you say, okay, now I saw what I didn't do. So now if this comes around again, I know how to set my boundaries, and I know the decisions. And I heard you mention discernment. And that has to do with what is the motive that this person is doing this? What is the motive that I'm even doing it, or I want to do it? And so that helps. So solitude, while it may sound bad, it's really a good thing. From what I'm hearing, to me, I think solitude is a good thing. I think everybody should take the time to get away, even if you're in a relationship or married, and kind of get off and just kind of you and God, and get that thing back in line. So did you want to add anything else before we move on to the next question? And then after that, I just kind of want you, if you feel comfortable, and just being transparent and encouraging women, men, moms who maybe they were married, and younger moms as well, when if they were married and now we have these kids, and so it's just me. But we're going to get to that later. So before we go to question number 3, is there anything else that you want to add? Because see, I want to hear you. I'm gonna take it like this so that you can be free, sister, on Singles with a Testimony.
Thank you.
We believe in people being transparent as they are comfortable in sharing, as they say, their truth. But because we want people to know we are approachable, and we want them to know while we believe in God, we still hurt. We still get mad. Sometimes we have a stank attitude, we still, going through this process and all of that. But at the end, looking at us, we have hope, and we know that it's not going to always be that way. So, yeah.
You have to believe that everything has a season, just like this topic. And you're going to go through some ups, some downs. You just got to keep going, so you can see brighter days. Yeah. And because I am a witness.
I believe we all. Wow. Yes, indeed. A witness. Yeah.
You just have to stay strong through the process. I know sometimes it can be hard. And I feel that some people can't handle it as much as others. And I feel that is the case, then do reach out to somebody, either somebody that has the experience already, so they can tell you and give you the tools you need to pull through. Or sometimes venting helps. So like a therapist, I even joined Katie Cares therapy sessions on Sundays. So I get to talk to other mothers that are going through similar situations, and we get to relate to each other, tell each other's stories, and then they give us the proper tools on how to move forward.
Yeah. And I like what you said, the proper tools. See, brown people, there's nothing wrong with seeing a counselor. There's nothing wrong with seeking counsel other than your pastor or anything. It's nothing wrong. See, in our culture, we believe that, hey, we don't go, that's for these kind of people, when that is so very false. If you need help, you need help. And it's nothing wrong with going to, as she said, seeking a counselor, because all they're giving you are tools. Know that when you go there, they're not fixing you or the issue. They're just giving you the tools to help you navigate through whatever that situation is, so that you understand yourself, the triggers. Some of us need to have that outside voice on triggers. Yeah, I'm gonna let you get the eye that struck a nerve. Come on now with the triggers. Go ahead.
But yes, ma'am, I'm listening.
No, go ahead. Get your like
I was gonna say, like, you don't know. Well, I didn't know. Let me speak for myself. I didn't know I had certain triggers until things just started happening. Like, oh, someone would say something, and I was like, oh, that. And a trigger is something that bothers you, makes you feel unbothered. So, and you don't know that you have these things sometimes until it happens. So sometimes it can just catch you off guard. So I suggest that when you catch those things, you need to deal with them immediately. So
yes.
we can move past it. We don't want to stay in this position forever and wait till you're get it over with, rip the band-aid off.
Yes, that see, you heard what she said. Go ahead. Don't be like some people, they doing the band-aid. Have you ever had a band-aid on people and you just doing it real slow? And really, to be honest, the slower you go, the more painful it is. Just rip that sucker off and get it on, and then and then you can move on with the healing process. And what happens is, once you take that band-aid off, you allow it to bleed out, because the more you keep it covered, when you run into the next person or people, you begin to bleed out on people who didn't cut you. And see, then that's not good, because now you are affecting someone else who has no idea where this come from. I just said, hey, Krystal, what you mean? Who are you talking to? I don't know, or whatever. And like, I just said hi. But because we didn't deal, like she said, a lot of people, if you, my sister, Jamaica BPG Bingham, she's the CEO of this internet radio show, y'all. She says this thing: if you do not deal, you cannot heal. Of course, healing is very ugly. I will tell anybody that if you've begun a healing process or been through it, it is ugly. It does not feel good, because it, like she said, it causes you to look at yourself. And when you really look at yourself, you like, I thought I was all that. No. And you begin to see, not to tear yourself down or talk bad or condemn or anything like that, but to say that you thought you had it all together. And you come to find out that I got these issues that I never thought that I had. So see, again, people, solitude. The whole thing for this, I want everybody to begin to look at solitude with a whole different frame of mind, and have a different perspective on your moments and your seasons of solitude. So yes, we are going to go on, because we're going to get to some mess. The third one, how did this season affect you? And once you talk about how it affected you, how did the change become, or how did the change that came after that, how did it change you for the better?
I want to say that it affected me because it made me look at myself. It got me a little bit uncomfortable with certain things that were happening, and it forced me to change. So because I wanted to have better relationships with the people around me. I wanted to create better relationships with new friends, new opportunities, whether that was business or just friends that I would hang out with. So it also taught me how to embrace being in the solitude season, that it wasn't a negative thing. So it changed my mindset of how I thought about it. Also, now I understand the purpose of being in solitude. So it helps me gain the knowledge to be able to show others the purpose of solitude. So like me changing my mindset, my perception of what solitude is, can help change other people's and help them not shy away from it, being afraid, because some people are afraid to deal with their own inner childhood wounds, or they are afraid because it puts them in this space where it's not a good space. No one wants space. So my thing is like, it changed me because now I look at the whole process. So now I can encourage others, like, do it for yourself. It's going to be uncomfortable for a little while, but I promise you, once you get over that hump, you'll be at a much positive space. You'll be around more positive people. You'll attract just better things into your life. You can get rid of those negative sounds that are in it, you know?
Yeah. And I heard you mention it caused you to look at yourself. So would you say that a lot of us really don't like being vulnerable? And by us not liking being vulnerable, then my thing, I will ask you to elaborate for you. Why would being vulnerable make you feel uncomfortable?
Because you don't want anyone judging you. And then you don't want anyone throwing it in your face, because it forces you to look at yourself and you're like, okay, I know I have these problems. I know I have these flaws, and I haven't worked on them yet. You don't have to keep throwing them in my face. So, so I feel like
I'm getting there. Yeah.
That's why people don't like being vulnerable, or don't like telling people like what's going on inside of them, because they feel like they're going to be judged. And I felt like that's why I really didn't tell people. That's why I waited a little while to talk about it so publicly, because I knew they were going to have their thoughts. So I needed to heal those parts of myself so I can be able to handle it.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, people, are going to do that, unfortunately. And I think sometimes even when those people make judgment calls on you,
they're not.
If you went in their closet, you'd be like, I know you're not talking about me with that over there hanging up in your closet. And so it's better for them to focus on maybe trying to judge you and help you fix their problems, so it keeps them from looking at theirs. Now, a lot of the time, sometimes I'll say for me, why I had an issue with being vulnerable, not so much is the judging was one and throwing it up in your face. It was just strictly the fear of looking as if I was weak. Oh, you're vulnerable. You can't handle anything. Or whatnot. And I grew up in a household to where, because my father was military, so I grew up in a household. Hey, look, we ain't got time for that crying and this and that. Get up, shake it off, keep moving. Well, I'm hurt. I understand that you got to hurt and move. And things like that. So I didn't want to show the vulnerable side. One, because, like she said, really, you feel like you're going to be judged because that person may not have created a safe place for you to let, for you to share that. And we all want to have a place where we can go and just say, girl, yeah, I know I look like I'm a boss, but really I have no idea what's going on in my life right now. I don't even know what's going on. I'm just barely getting from point A to point B, and have somebody to say, you know what, it's okay. Long as you get to point B, as long as you're getting up and you're trying, instead of saying, well, I told you, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. I don't need to hear all of that. I already know, undoubtedly, I wouldn't be here if I'd have done it. So we all know I didn't do it, so we can skip all of the little small talk. So but vulnerability and solitude, like you mentioned, because it helps you to see yourself. It helps you to learn yourself in your strengths and weaknesses. And you get to say, you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with me. I get to find out who I am. And so that takes vulnerability to even say, I want change. Now, you mentioned that about change. Now, what do you do when some people don't want change, because we all know, I know you know some, and I do too, and ain't nothing like, as they say, an old fool that they don't want to change, but yet they complain about they want things to change, but they don't want to change. What do we do about that? What would you say about that?
I would say if you've given them the advice already and they're not taking it in, like they don't want to change it, you have to separate yourself from those people.
Yeah,
you do, because you don't want that energy rubbing off on you.
absolutely.
And saying that you can handle it, no, it rubs off on you. So
Yeah,
like, I feel like you can love people at a distance. I'm not saying to stop loving them. You can just love them at a distance. I personally would rather separate myself from those type of people who don't want to change and who don't want to grow, because I don't want to stop growing where I'm
absolutely.
I want to continue to grow. So those people just have to be left behind. Left behind.
Bingo. And a lot of the times, when God, definitely when he begins to take you a place, we got to know, your homegirl that y'all been friends, probably even from the womb, she may not be able to go where God is taking you. She
No.
may not. That homeboy that y'all been down like I don't know how long, they may not be able to go with you where God is taking you, and you got to learn to be okay. But you won't learn that unless you, like she's saying, embrace them times of solitude. Because please believe me, you're gonna find, you could, guess what? You know what I found out? You can be in a relationship and still feel like you by yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Mm. Now,
And
what about that?
e- even marriages, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so I know in the Bible it says God hate, divorces. I had, to pray about situations that I was in before I made my final decision, because I'm like, I know you're telling me that you don't like this, God. You also taught me not to be ignorant. You also taught me to not stay or be a fool you know, for someone who isn't trying to move forward in like a more positive way. Like it's just like when you're in marriages and you find yourself, or you two are both going in separate directions. You go to counseling, you do everything you can to try to save your marriage, and you guys are still going separate directions. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't make people stay. Like I said, they have to want it just as much as you. It's two people in it. Both people have to be fighting for it.
Yeah.
Um, Even if you do find yourself fighting for it by yourself for a while, then that's when you have to say, okay, God, I need to know what to do. I am fighting. They say that they don't want it. And there again, the Bible does talk about that. Yes, he hates divorce. However, he does talk about, if that person wants to leave, let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you can try to hold on and make them, or do all of these things to keep them. But if that person wants to go, then you have to let them go. Hey, some marriages have went that way all the way to the divorce. And I've known some, and I know some right now, and they've come back together. Sometimes that's for some people, sometimes it's not. But and then getting to learn you, woman of God, in your solitude, in your season of solitude and all of that, when and if God says, okay, it's going to come around again, you know yourself a little bit better. Then we can get in there and we can begin to pray and ask God, if this is what we desire to be married again, man or woman, then, like you said, discernment. We can then be able to discern the intent and the motive of why this guy say, I want to be a part of your life, why this woman wants to be a part of your life, and things of that nature. You begin to discern, and they may not be a bad person. They just might not be for you, and you might not be for them. And guess what? That's okay too. So if you would, because as a young woman, single woman, an unmarried woman, entrepreneur, got it going on, juggling life, a child, this new season, how could you, or what would you say to encourage other women, you know uh your age group. And shoot, to be honest, some old ones too, because some of us think we know, but we still learning too. Encourage women of all colors, because at the end of the day, hurt is hurt, black, white, green, purple, polka dot, whatever. What would you say to encourage them along this journey? And just be real and transparent, sister.
Advice I would give, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yeah. Advice, encouraging words,
Uh,
all that good stuff.
yeah, I actually wrote some scriptures down that are
Bring them. Bring them.
I wrote three down. I didn't know how long your video was gonna go. So I
Oh,
was like,
no, we good, honey.
so I wrote Matthew 6, verse 6, chapter 6, verse 6. It's pray in private, and then you will be rewarded. I find that in solitude, it is just you. Create that prayer corner, that prayer closet, whatever you need, or if you need to just go in your closet, create that space for you and God so that you can talk and have clear conversations about your needs in the season, and also the purpose behind it, and also what he wants you to do to move forward.
Good, good.
Another one I wrote down was, and tell me if I'm wrong how I said it, Detrimony.
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy.
Yeah. Don't hey. I
Deuteronomy.
had to look. Now I had to look because I was gonna say, wait a minute, what's she gonna say? Because if she's gonna say one of them names, I'm gonna say, I don't know, sister. You're gonna have to. I don't know.
It's chapter 31, verse 6, and it's I'll never leave you nor forsake you. So
yes.
ain't this fun? Know that you're not alone. Know that you're not going through this season alone. Know that you're not the only one that has experienced this, and know that God is with you. So just keep focusing on that. Keep focusing on that, and just keep going. Just keep going, moving past everything, the whole process. Take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
And then John 14:18, I will not leave you as an orphan. I will come to you. It's just saying, to me, I took that as, I'm not gonna leave you like by yourself alone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come save you.
Yeah.
I am after you've been faithful to me.
Come
After,
on here now. Don't start no mess up in here. No.
okay. I'm not gonna leave you. I have something else for you on the other side. So there will just keep going. Keep going. Do what you gotta do so that you can get past it quicker.
Yeah. That's it. I think we drag stuff out ourselves because he be like, you just come on, But like she's saying, everybody is different. Some people, they go through any type of a loss, they grieve differently. Some people know, okay, this is it, and okay. And some people think, oh, this is it, and that's it. And so they get stuck in that place. And sometimes that's okay if you're in that place. And it's okay. I'm gonna keep saying it's okay. Just don't stay there.
Yes.
Just don't stay there. Because if you stay there, like you say, you're gonna stop growing. And anything that stops growing, eventually it dies. Eventually it dies. Your dreams die. The glow about you, the life in you dies. And then how are you going to be life or show? And you have a child. That's another thing, see, God is so good. Let me tell you, he will give us reasons to push forward, because as a mom, you want to stop. You want to say, man, I'm just tired. But then you have this bright little ball of energy that's looking at you like, mom, and you got to say, okay, I got to get up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing too, I want to just throw in there. I watched some YouTube videos that taught me a little bit about discernment. If anybody wants to learn more about that, you can always find your own. But I like Dr. Charles Stanley, the priest, and I like Amanda Pittman.
Okay.
They also have like really encouraging videos and very people of wisdom, I like to call them, that
Mm-hmm.
already experienced this, already know, so they're telling you the steps and what it is, so that you can just be enlightened about what discernment actually is if you don't know already, or if
Right.
you about it. Mm-hmm.
And you said something key when you said people who have already been through it. Now, that's the thing about them homegirls, homeboys, or even family members. If they've never been in your shoes, they can kind of give you some stuff. But then if they've never dealt with that, then they can't really, they can tell you, but they can't tell you. It's just like being mentored by somebody who's trying to walk alongside you, as opposed to being mentored by someone who's already made it there. See, that's different. They're walking in it, but this person has already been in the mess. They've seen the other side, so they're like, "Hey, come over here. I can tell you what I did. Maybe you can use it, or at least it's a tool to help you kind of, you're going to go your own way, but I can kind of share some of my pitfalls in hopes that, it gives you a little bit of an edge up, and things like that." And so that's what, this is, you've been there, you about season of solitude, want you to share, wanted you to come on and share that, and let people know that, to be honest, hey, y'all, you're going to have to, as they say, get naked before the Lord and just put it out there. You cannot be afraid to be vulnerable. People, people going to judge you because they just not happy with life. Okay. And you have to be okay with that. So what, they judge you, guess what? I found out when I had a problem with people judging me, a lot of it for me was because, really, to be honest, I wasn't that confident about myself. Now, I'm not saying that about you, but I know for me, I'm like, why should I care?
Mm-hmm.
Because they judge them, because see, they really don't know me. At the end of the day, what you went through, they were there, but they weren't there when it's just you and that person. See, people only see from the outside. They don't know what you've had to deal with or what you went through, because only you, only God, you, and that other person was there. So their judging can never be true, because no matter what they think they know, they don't know.
They
They
don't.
didn't. And so we just have to say, well, if that's how you feel, you have a right to your opinion, how false it may be. God bless you, and keep it moving.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I like the approach to that too. Like how your response was, because some people can get negative about it, but I mean, if you don't let it bother you, which it shouldn't, because like you said, they weren't there. They weren't a fly on the wall watching your every move.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to keep the peace, a better response is like, okay, yeah, thank you. You have a blessed day.
And then sometimes, in protecting your peace, some people, you just, like you said, some people you just can't talk to about certain things. So that's another thing. We have to even seek God in who we should talk to. Because I've had friends to come to me and say, hey, I'm going through this in my relationship. And because I love them, and of course, my flesh wants to say, girl, forget that sucker.
I know.
Whatever. You ain't got to take that jazz from that old, ninja. Uh, but then I know the God in me has to say, okay, that's what you would say, but I need you to say what I would say. Then
Mm-hmm.
you encourage them, of course, that, you're not by yourself. If you need to talk, if you need to stay, if you feel you want to stay when everybody else is calling you crazy, that's them. You have to seek the Lord for yourself and your marriage, or yourself and your relationship, and do what God tells you to do, even if everybody else, and that's family included, because family, they real bad for that. I'm just saying. Even if it's family telling you no, but that God told you to do X, Y, and Z, who would you rather, I asked my daughter this today, who would you rather have a problem with, people or God?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying. So yeah.
With people, and I feel like in those type of situations, like especially with marriage, I feel like if no one is physically or mentally harming you, then the situation can be fixable. Any situation can be fixable, but it's just like when someone's messing with your mental, it's
Yeah.
also your health.
Most definitely. Definitely. It's only a matter of time before it's going to mess with your physical. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So those are things that are non-negotiable, like to me. Everything else can be fixed as far as like disagreements and other things.
Yeah, because
But
you're going to have those. Yeah, you're going to have those.
yeah, but like I said, the other two is just like, to me,
Oh, I don't do toxicity, baby. I'm going to tell you now. I
those
get
are wrong. I'm just gonna say I wouldn't tell anyone to stay if that was the two things that was going on. I would
right.
say, yeah.
Yeah, if you can't fix it, okay, I would tell them, hey, look here, seek the Lord for real, and ask him, what you should do or how you should go about it. But like you said, if it's, mentally, then you need to find out, why is it bothering me mentally? Because, why is it hurting me this bad? And then if I'm staying, why am I staying when I should be going? See, we did a thing where it was just the women and just the men about toxic relationships. And see, you got to start peeling back. Sometimes you say you stay in that relationship a day too long. Lord have mercy, I did. And you find out I stayed because I didn't want to be by myself. So I'd rather take that jive just as long as I had a nice little warm body in the bed next to me. I know he retarded and crazy, but yeah, I don't even care. Things like that. That's toxic. And then you say, why am I even doing that? Well, peel back some more layers. My mama did it. My daddy did it. My grandma did it. And it's so it's kind of in your DNA. And you figure, okay, this why I'm falling for this. With this dude, and he cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but and I'm still here.
That's a generational habit. Like, you have to break those because
Yeah,
as you see someone else doing something, it doesn't make it right.
absolutely.
And then now we're in a time where you you have knowledge everywhere, like on social media, on the
Oh,
internet.
mhm.
Like, you know more now, so you can do better now. Like before, I feel like back in the day they didn't have um as much access as we have now to the world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they chose to do what was going on around them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like women, I mean, because I came up and I just didn't understand why, and I found myself doing it like a ding dong. But women being in relationships, the man cheating, he cheating. Yeah. But well,
So
girl, he come home every night. I don't. What kind of ham sandwich is that? What am I on? Dope and dog food? I mean, the man, he's cheating, or he's not trying to meet your mental or emotional needs. I mean, you over here just starving, drying up, but you're just staying there. Well, because oh, we got these kids, and I don't want my kids not to have a daddy. Hey, I don't either. I think all children should have their daddy.
mhm.
So at the same time, if the brother not right, all children should have their mother. If the mama, something wrong with her, you
I
you,
yeah,
you know,
I understand that, and then I have something for that too. You rather be in a toxic home just for your kids to have an unhealthy relationship with their mother and father because y'all don't even get along. So now they're seeing unhealthy things happening around them. And guess what? Those kids are going to do the same thing because they see it.
I told you, what did I do?
Like,
Ran right into the same old that I was trying not to. So yeah.
yeah, it's like if we are, bless you, if we are better apart so
Yeah.
that we can raise this child in a healthier space, because at the end of the day, once you have kids, it's about them now.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like, I mean, it still be about you, but the
Yeah,
next
I got you. I got you. Yeah.
the kids. So the kids are very important, but I feel like in order for them to grow up in a more positive space, and maybe you can break the generational curse by just separating between you two and creating a healthy space. And this is just my theory, okay? I'm still testing it out. if the father and the mother can create a healthier space by being apart and have a healthy co-parenting environment, and now the kid sees both parents can get along because they don't know each other, or they have a disagreement, but they don't have to show it in front of the child and stuff like that. This now creates a healthier space for the kid because now parents, even though they're separated, they get along now.
Yeah. And so that shows them that, like you said, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, that also shows them that, people, just because y'all are separate, or they live here, they live there, it doesn't mean that there's any love loss, if you understand what I'm saying. And people can still have a good relationship, a healthy relationship, even though they are apart. And it teaches them that you don't have to stay in something that's not purposeful for you.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. That's it right there. I feel like no, go sit down. Go sit down. Sorry. I told him, do not get in the video. This is live.
Baby, please. Honey, my niece, I did one, and baby, she was all in the background. Just hollering like somebody was killing. I'm like, Lord, I'm like, what kind of stuff is this?
I know. I was like,
but hey, y'all, I'm telling you, this is Singles with a Testimony. Everything here is raw and real, uncut. I mean, I'm just saying, these are real people with real life stuff going on, and things like that. So that's the only way I know how to be. But go ahead, Mama.
Yeah, what was your question again?
Oh no, we were just talking about creating a healthy space, and that not you were saying about the child not seeing the parents argue. And then sometimes it's, when I say this, people hear where I'm coming from. If they see you have a disagreement, sometimes depending on how it is, it's not bad, because it shows them how to have a healthy disagreement but still be able to agree. Because if you hide so much from them, like myself, I did not, when I would see my parents argue or fight, I didn't see anybody trying to come back and say anything later. I just saw them argue and fight. He went this way, she went that way. So what it made me do is I dealt with stuff because I didn't want to argue. Because I felt if I argued, that meant the relationship was over. They weren't going to want to talk to me anymore. And I didn't want that. So I just kind of cowered down and I just didn't say anything. So see, sometimes our children need to see, because they need to know how, when they grow, how do I handle confrontation? So they need to know how to handle confrontation and know that confrontation is not bad. It's just saying me and this person had a disagreement, but we still love each other, because you're going to disagree even with people who you love dearly. You're going to disagree. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel that that's where solitude comes in. Like if you haven't learned how to deal with confrontation, or if you feel like the need to be loud when you're in arguments or whatever, in that season of solitude, those are things that you can work on.
Tell my business, Krystal.
You
feel you need to be loud. I'm little, but like, take it down, baby.
Yeah, if you come from a home and that's all you know, that's how you communicate. So
yeah.
but when you see other people and how they, like, that's why the therapy helps. The group therapy helps, because you see other people have different approaches on how they deal with situations. So things work better with other people. So I should incorporate this in my life, because it's working for them. It's going to work for me. So I feel that once you do the solitude thing and you discover like these weaknesses or these bad things about that you want to change, then you create a healthier space for yourself, and you become a healthier person
Absolutely.
for other people. So like now that your approach is different, you learn how to approach your ex-husband or whatever, ex-boyfriend or baby daddy. Now when y'all communicate, it can be in a calmer state.
Absolutely.
You can even agree to disagree, but still,
Absolutely. I like that one.
because sometimes we still don't agree, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
you're not,
but
no, no, but okay.
okay. But then you're because the kids watch everything.
Oh, yes. And they know more than what we think they know. Trust me on that one. Believe
Yeah,
me. Yeah,
yeah,
they do.
they do. And so now that they see, oh, mommy, daddy, they argue and stuff, but it's not anything drastically crazy or wild. That this is
Right.
how I approach my friends,
Yeah. Yeah.
or my teachers or my peers or whoever comes to me that disagrees with me. This is how I approach them because this is how I was raised in my home. And then
Yeah.
they might be a better person. They might be in a healthier relationship than you were.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That too. That's the whole point of them learning, and they're seeing, okay, well, that didn't work for them. So I think let me try something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So um I want to say thank you for that, you guys. Miss Krystal Brown, as she said, check her out on. Now, what's your handle on Instagram if they wanted to follow
I
you or look you up on Instagram or whatever other platforms you may be on?
Yes, ma'am. I put it on as a title or the header.
Okay, I see it, y'all. Yes, it's at Krystal Brown Official, and that's Crystal with a K, not with a
Yes.
C. Yes, it's Crystal with a K, Krystal Brown Official. Well, it's at Krystal Brown Official, so that's how you can look her up, check her out. Find out what she has going on. Support, support, support. As my sister Jamaica BPG Bingham always says, support and don't abort, because we all in this together. Some kind of way it's going to touch us, affect us also. I just want to say to all of you who are listening, who will go back and watch this video, thank y'all for letting us into your home, taking the time to listen to us. I pray that you got some out of it. And I just want to say thank you, dear, for accepting the invitation, for sharing, what coming out of the closet looks like. And that's coming out in a good way, y'all. Okay. From out of that place of solitude, that there is still life. A whole life still waiting on you. You go in that closet, and when you come out, life is still going to be lifing. So you might as well come out and enjoy. So again, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. You can catch us every Saturday on the bpginspirationalstation.com. The rawest, realest, loving y'all for free internet radio station in the land, the world, and in the globe. And meeting us for tea every Saturday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time at the BPG Tea House, which is the holiest tea house in Houston, Texas. The tea is always hot, but it is always also good for the soul. So again, I just want to thank you. And before we sign off, is there anything that you would like to say to the listeners?
God bless, and I wish you all well. And thank you again to Miss Lady Ray for having me.
You're so welcome. And yes, I'm your girl, Lady Rachel, the host of Singles with a Testimony. And thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, one love. And we're out of here until next time. Bye-bye.